You can try to resign yourself, but you can't forget. An act like that, one can never forget.
It was around 7 at night. This man came up from behind and put a gun to my head.
I felt my life was finished, that I would never be able to function in society again.
They are the victims of one of the worst forms of violence against women. In Haiti, they struggle against rape, which wasn't even a crime until 7 years ago.
Violence
against women and young girls in Haiti has always been taken for granted. It's been a huge victory that now it is considered a crime under Haitian law.
Josie Philistin is one of the pioneers of the 2005 law. A former rape victim, today she is the coordinator of Kofa Vive, a Haitian women's rights organization formed by rape victims. She says the law has helped educate women on their rights, but few cases have been brought to justice, especially in a country where human rights groups say poverty and weak state institutions foster a climate of impunity.
There's always a problem applying the law when you have a dysfunctional justice system that instills fear among the population, especially the victims who are the most vulnerable and live in marginalized conditions.
In January 2010, a devastating earthquake struck Port-au-Prince, Haiti's densely populated capital, killing more than 200,000. With 2.8 million inhabitants, mostly living in overcrowded poor neighborhoods, its long-term impact is catastrophic. 1.5 million Haitians were left homeless, finding shelter in tent cities that mushroomed overnight throughout the capital. Thousands of children, adolescents and adult women thrust into a no-man's land with no protection.
These are people who lived in low-income neighborhoods. Even if they lived in slums, they lived in a community where everyone knew each other.
Within seconds, that social safety net of communities was leveled and transformed overnight into a chaotic landscape of survivors.
You find yourself in a camp where you don't know your neighbor. You look around, up, down, to the side, and you don't know a soul. People are living in inhumane, degrading conditions, and everyone is exposed. There is no security.
More than 2 years later, 500,000+ refugees still remain in the decaying camps. With international emergency aid exhausted, they are among the most vulnerable, no longer receiving basic needs like drinking water, sanitation services or security. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees says there's an alarming increase in rapes and violence against young girls and adult women in these camps. One of the most notorious, it says, is Champ de Mars camp, right in front of the collapsed presidential palace. In its narrow alleys, we found Yuselin Marcellus, a 16-year-old girl who says she was gang-raped in the camp last November. She became pregnant. Without family and nowhere to turn, she says she turned to prostitution to feed her 4-month-old child.
There were 10 of them. It's hard. It hurts a lot. It's always in my mind. I can't forget.
We were led to Yuselin's tent by 2 young men, Carlos and Ludner, who volunteer to protect her and other young women here.
Since I was living in this camp for 2 years, I see many little girls being raped. Even they are 9 years old, the old people, young people, they don't care about that. We try to stop that right now, we made a big group, 50 guys, try to stop, the rape, but, we can't. We can't.
Philistin says there's been progress. With the help of the Haitian police, more than 1,000 rape cases have been officially registered in the last 2 years. But with the judicial system still in limbo, many of those cases may never see their day in court. On the other side of town, at Camp Nicaragua, Delna Charlatan is both refugee and president of the Women's Watchdog Group, one of 16 frontline volunteer organizations working day and night throughout the camps. Delna and her committee check regularly through the camp to make sure everyone's flashlight has working batteries, and especially that every female has a whistle.
We give all the women a whistle so that if any of them feel threatened, they can blow it. And everyone will be on alert and come to her rescue.
When they locate a victim in a camp, they refer her to a place like Kofa Vive, which has one of the few safe houses in the capital. Kofa Vive's community workers are for the most part victims of rape or other violence themselves.
In a first phase, we relocate the victim and her family. The mother and children are placed in a secure setting. During that time, the victim is sensitized to issues of reproductive health, gender-based violence, family planning, and community support.
In the final stages, Kofa Vive will ensure up to a year's rent for the woman and her family and pay for the children's schooling and health.
We don't want them to be dependent on assistance anymore. We want the assistance to help them get back on their feet.
For most of these women, it's hard to forget, but Rosa Meland still has hope.
Yes, I think I can have a second life.
Julie Lindsay, Global Health Frontline News.